About that time. It's about that time for, that's right, I often had I'm about to get into a coffee talk on this morning, and let's make sure that you keep your radio tuned in. Let's have a word of prayer. Father in heaven, we just thank you for this day, this opportunity that you've given unto us. You've allowed us to wake up on this morning with new mercy. And Father, we ask you, God, that you would anoint these voices that will come through these airways, God, that we may be able to receive what you have downloaded in them. God, that we may be better fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, aunties, uncles, God, may be a better family, a community, a world just for you. We give you thanks and we give you praise. This glory and honor shall be yours in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bishop. And every day we rise is a great day to be alive. And welcome to the Seven Cities Forums of Hampton Roads presents Portsmouth Coffee Talk. My name is James Slim Overton, and I'm here with my co-host, Leah Drake Stitt and Thomas the Colonel Chapman.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Another Monday morning.
Another Monday morning.
Early Monday morning.
Yeah, it was a busy weekend too, indeed. Shout out to the classes of Craddock High School who are still celebrating their time there, even though the high school is no longer in existence, but they had a nice day at the City Park on Saturday. My wife is a 1976 graduate, and I went out there and sort of enjoyed time with them. And I would joke them, I said this to them, you know, the difference between the Admirals and the Greyhounds, we know our alma mater.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, it was a little difficult for some of them, but that's understandable. We had a different sort of environment over at IC Norfolk. But anyway, I digress. But this morning we have a special guest with us, Keith Toler. Is it Toler?
Toler, yes.
Toler, Keith Toler. He's the assistant director of museums and tourism. Welcome this morning, Keith. How you doing?
Oh, thank you for having me on this morning. Like I told you, it's early, but I'm glad to be here.
We appreciate you getting up early and coming in and coming to talk a little bit about tourism and well, a whole lot about tourism and a little bit about the museums. And first, I want to ask you, you know, you've traveled, you know, you've had a lot of roads and ended up a lot of places. So what brought you to the great city of Portsmouth?
Well, this is actually my second time to be in Portsmouth. I came to Portsmouth the first time in 1992 and was here until 2001. They brought me in to build the tourism program. Portsmouth had never had a tourism program before. And so that was under the leadership of Wayne Orton and Gloria Webb back in the day.
Right.
Yes, way back then. And I was here for almost 10 years. And then I left and went up to Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Philadelphia. And I ran their program for 5 years. And after that, I got a call to go out to Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I ran the program there for another 4 or 5 years. And then I said, you know, I've been doing tourism for a long time, and I think I want to do something different. So I went to work on a farm. And it was the marketing director for one of the largest wineries in Virginia, Chateau Morissette. And one day the phone rang and Dr. Patton asked me if I would be interested in coming back. And I thought about it and I said, sure, I love Portsmouth. It's always been a special place for me. And here I am.
So that's great, going to all those different places. Sometimes that helps you bring back a lot of different ideas to the city of Portsmouth, you know, all the experiences you had other places. So I would say that's a plus.
Exactly. Well, you know, just as an example of that, one of the things Santa Fe was known for was creative tourism. They were part of the UNESCO Creative Cities. And so they were known for creative. So I really learned to involve the arts into the tourism program. And today we have Support Portsmouth Public Art, which is a nonprofit that brings public art installations to our city. And so we've created tours around the toads. They have a toad program for kids. They can go on a scavenger hunt looking for toads. They've got the new wings program. I don't know if you've seen the wings all over town, but that's a big draw as well.
Right.
And then of course the murals you were talking about, Craddock, the Admiral Craddock mural is fantastic out there just off Afton Square. So yeah, anything that we can do to promote the arts, to bring the arts together with tourism is a big plus. And I learned that in Santa Fe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I see that with the city of Portsmouth, with all the apartments coming up downtown, they want to make it a walkable city for those people that live down there, but also for the tourists that come into town. So what kind of plans do we have? I know you just mentioned that before we came on air, it was a big push advertisement that you all sent out throughout the United States. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the Big Spring campaign wasn't all throughout the United States. We don't have that kind of budget.
Oh, okay.
But what we did was we focused on Washington, D.C., Richmond, and the Hampton Roads area. Because, in tourism, we really want to our goal is to get heads in beds, feet on streets, and sometimes butts in seats. We want to make sure that the amphitheater is full, because the admissions tax is very important to us. Obviously, the meals tax to get them in our restaurants is important, and the lodging tax to get them to stay in the bed. So we are an economic engine for those three levels of taxes, plus the sales tax that comes along with it too. So we really focused our efforts this spring on those three markets. And we were, I think, very successful. We did it on social media, ran ads on social media, Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest. We also ran ads on streaming media. So if you turn on your Hulu or you turn on your Pluto or one of your streaming channels, you could see one of our television commercials there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we, of course, had some Google advertising and that kind of thing that went along with it. But it was very successful. Eleanor, we looked at the video count, over 1 million views of Portsmouth videos. We reached over 2 million people just on social media alone. And to me, that's all positive messaging about Portsmouth that's going out there. What a beautiful city we are, what a friendly city and a welcoming city we are. And a lot of times here in Hampton Roads, we don't always hear that message about Portsmouth. And I think it's important that we get that positive messaging out there, because we are a fantastic city. I love this city.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And before we get into more specifics, I heard someone say, and they were on Facebook one time, say, Portsmouth is not a destination for tourism. Nobody wants to come to Portsmouth for tourism. And I'm sure you beg to differ as well as I do. It's a lot of things. It's just a matter of getting the word out. How, and we talk about how economic development is a driving engine for the success of any city, but tourism is too, especially when you have a rich history like Portsmouth has, not only downtown, but throughout the city. There's some opportunities that we can take more advantage of, I think, in my opinion. So talk about how important the tourism is, and maybe dispel that person who said Portsmouth is not a destination for people, for tourism, for people looking to, do that kind of thing. Because we have, go ahead.
Obviously, we've got the largest children's museum in the state. And so if we can get families coming over here, it is a destination. People drive down from Richmond to spend the day at the Children's Museum. They come from the peninsula. They come from the Middle Peninsula just to spend time at the Children's Museum. And then they find out that we have all of this rich history here, and they're interested in more, so they want to come back. And a lot of times it's that visitor who comes for the weekend who says, what a great little city. I want to bring my business here.
Mm-hmm.
And so that stems over into economic development. It's that first exposure, and you need to make sure that they have that positive experience in their first exposure to the city. And then who knows what can happen after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, economic development drives the city's success, and tourism drives economic development.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Now,
Okay.
Keith, if I was someone from out of town and I want to know, why should I come to Portsmouth? What is there in Portsmouth that I need to see or to be a part of? Now, if I was to call your office, what would you tell me? How would you lure me into the city of Portsmouth?
Well, the first thing I'd want to do is find out what your interests were, because we are a diverse city. We've got outdoor recreation. If you're into nature and outdoor recreation, I want to know that. I'll tell you one thing, different set of things to do. If you're traveling with children, I might put something else together for you to do. If you're interested in history, then I might do something a little bit different. So, you really want to find out what the person is interested in, because we do have something to offer for a lot of different interests. And so obviously, Old Town is a great asset we have. I mean, this is when Norfolk was burned, all the other cities in Hampton Roads were burned during the wars. Portsmouth was spared. And so we have the original architecture. So we have, I think, 9 different walking tours that you can do of Old Town. And that would be everything from the Underground Railroad tour to the Path to History to the arts tour. There's an arts tour you can take. There's just a 30-minute walk along the seawall to learn about the river. And all of this is downloadable on your phone so you can take it with you. And then we also have guided tours. If that's what you want, we can do guided tours of the historic spots here in Portsmouth. So that's one of the things that we would look at. But then we also have Paradise Creek and Hopless Creek for people who are interested in outdoor recreation, and to walk that that path around Lake Ballard and Hopless Creek. It's just beautiful. You never know what you're going to see there. I've seen deer, I've seen fox, I've seen all kinds of birds. In fact, just to go sit in the bird blind out there and watch the birds is pretty amazing. And then the kayaking is fantastic. I mean, people don't realize we have a family of American bald eagles that live here in Hopless Creek, and to sit and watch them fish is just amazing to me. So, and then you see what's happening with the restored Paradise Creek. They've got that new playground for kids out there and getting them exposed to nature, learning about native plants. You've got the walk, they do guided kayak tours. They even have some glass bottom boats out there. So we've got something here for the nature lover as well. And then of course, our Children's Museum of Virginia, which I've mentioned already, is just such a draw. And then we have an emerging arts community as well. I mean, the quality of exhibits that are coming into the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center are just fantastic. And then the Portsmouth Colored Community Library Museum, they have an exhibit that they're running right now that is dedicated to Black baseball. And so people are coming from all over because it's baseball season, and they want to see what that's all about.
Okay, and getting back to the Colored Library, do you have to schedule an appointment to? The last time I tried to take my youth group there, we had to schedule an appointment to go. Do you still have to schedule?
No, right now we're looking for volunteers and people that we can have the museum open more, but it's open Fridays and Saturdays from 10 to 4.
Okay.
And so you can go Fridays and Saturdays, to the museum to see the exhibits there, and you don't need an appointment. The appointment started, I think, during the pandemic.
Okay.
And that's when we needed to schedule appointments to do that.
So if you got more volunteers, it'd probably be open more. If you got some people to maybe volunteer for during the week, then it would be more accessible.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll put that out there,
Put that out there. We're always looking for volunteers.
It's not a hard job to do. And before the Colonel goes in here, let me mention this, because I have a friend that has a Airbnb here in the city of Portsmouth. And they started it not too long ago, and it's filled up every almost all the dates are full. And a lot of people come here because they want to go down to the beach, but they can't go down, stay down the beach because of the price, or it's filled up. So they'll come to Portsmouth and found an Airbnb and stay here, and end up going down to our Sunset Thursdays, or end up in our downtown areas, along with going down to the beach, because they didn't realize the annuities that were right here where they were staying. So that's an advantage too. Even if they come down here to go to the beach, once we get them here inside of Portsmouth, we can steer them to some of the things that we have, some of the annuities we have here.
Absolutely. Our geographic location in Hampton Roads is a real asset. I mean, we are centrally located. You can be at the oceanfront in 30 minutes. You can be over on the peninsula in 30 minutes. So whatever it's just a great central location for visitors to come. And the Airbnb, there's quite a few Airbnbs in the city. And the trouble we have with that is we don't collect the tax from Airbnb. That's it doesn't help my budget at all, but I still love the Airbnbs because people want to stay there.
Well, you probably
I
get some
use Airbnb when I travel a lot.
Well, if they stay here and eat in the restaurants or do other things, to get taxes that way from
That's
people.
right. That's right. I'm not complaining. Not complaining.
Yeah, that's a great point, Keith. Hey, but before I ask my questions here and get some information from you, I just wanted to give our disclaimer that the views listed on or stated on this program are those of the host and the guests, and not of the radio station. So I need to get that off the thing. to state that. But you mentioned tax. What in the overall scheme of tourism, do you have an idea of how much tourism brings into the city coffers?
I would, we can run some numbers and see what that would look like. But the lodging tax is about 800,000. And then there's a $3 tourism tax. So it's $3 per room per night tourism tax, which is about 300,000. So those are definitely 100% tourist driven because they're staying in our hotels. And then the next thing you would look at would be our meals tax. Well, what percentage of meals tax is generated by tourists? So we have about 8 million in meals tax that's generated here in the city every year. And so of that meals tax, it's estimated that about 20% could be tourism. I think in Portsmouth, it's a little lower because we don't have the number of hotel rooms to support that 20%. So I would say let's even at 10%, what are you talking about? $800,000 coming in from tourists right there, just in meals tax. So yeah, then you've got admissions tax. That's a 10% admissions tax when they go to the amphitheater. So we're generating, now that the amphitheater is back up and running, we're generating probably, I'm afraid to even look at that because say what that is. But yeah, the admissions tax is because you really only have the amphitheater and the Commodore are the only two that's collecting admissions tax here in the city.
Just the amphitheater and the Commodore.
Yeah, that's the only admissions tax that we have at this point.
Wow.
Well,
As Slim was saying about Sunset Thursday has generated the activities from individuals from different places, as well as the marketplace on Saturdays, the farmers market.
Absolutely.
The farmers market on Saturday, and that's what Patsy Cavendish-Hines was saying, that while there, she experienced people from California, from all over, and that farmers market is such an amazing event each Saturday, and good time, and it almost would take you back to the movies of the little towns where the people come together in the center of town and they gather and have a good time because they have music, they have food, they have vendors. So that event is an amazing event as well. Now, are we promoting that well? Apparently,
Absolutely.
people are coming from all over to come to the farmers market.
Absolutely. Well, you've got people let's use your California example. Those people are the ones staying in our hotels, or they're staying in an Norfolk hotel and taking the ferry across on a Saturday morning. So we're really trying to put the word out there about that farmers market. I was there this weekend. This was the first Saturday of the month. So they had the farmers market. They had the flea market in the parking garage, which they had, I think, 70 vendors there. And then they had the Old Town neighborhood yard sale going on. There were thousands of people on the sidewalk this Saturday.
Yes.
In Old Town. And it was so nice to see all of those people walking the streets and checking out the shops. And the new High Street Pizza and Poorhouse, for example, now they've started to open on Saturday mornings because of the farmers market. So they go over on Saturday morning, buy different vegetables and meats and things like that, and go back and they offer a special brunch of just the things they purchased at the farmers market.
Okay.
Which I think is interesting. So, you see the other businesses that are starting to build on top of what's already here with the farmers market. It's probably one of the most respected farmers markets in all of Hampton Roads.
Yeah, Kathleen and Jim Cullen, they have done an amazing job of getting this thing back up and running and in full forces, because I didn't realize how much of the downtown area it covered. It was only on one side of the street at one time. Now it's on both sides of the street, and that's Washington Street.
Well, it's Court Street.
Court Street.
It's right there, Court and High. And then the museums got involved. The Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center got involved. They programmed the music. They opened the doors of the museum for restrooms and let people come in and see the exhibits that are there.
And they've had some nice exhibits there recently. So are we promoting all of those exhibits, because they've had some great works there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We had the Hanging Tree Guitars, which just left, and it was a fantastic exhibit. Soulfinger was before that, and that was one of the most beautiful exhibits I've ever seen in any museum. And we have a lot of pictures from that, but now that it's gone, I can't really bring it. We can't promote that. But what we do have there now is an environmental exhibit. It's called If Not Now. And one of the things we found at the farmers market, people were coming to the farmers market and didn't realize that was a museum. So now if you go to that museum, on the very front that faces High Street, that faces the Commodore and the Trinity Church, there are huge banners announcing what the exhibit is, and your entrance is around the corner, because we want more people to experience that. And this environmental exhibit, If Not Now, that's there, is really kind of amazing. It's all talks about it's art that's created to tell the story of the impact on the environment since the Industrial Revolution to now. So one of the things you see there is a whole wall full of plates. They took these white plates and they put this mask on them, and then they set them out in the Los Angeles smog for weeks. And once the smog had covered the plates, they pulled the masks off, and it's all of our international world leaders, their faces, and it's all done in smog.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wonderful.
I mean,
have to make it there to see
make
this
it there
one.
to see just that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Never thought I'd see a good use of smog.
They're telling the story of what smog is doing. So,
So Keith, let me ask you this, and I'll have to ask you this because Les Young made a comment, and he's the athletic director at IC Norcom. And as we talk about our high schools, and IC Norcom in particular, established in 1913, am I right?
Yes.
Right.
And I noticed that Craddock was in 1920, but it's no longer here. Wilson is no longer here, which they could be historic significant too. But Norcom is still here. Has there ever been any talks or maybe plans in the future to include the school as part of the, maybe not the tourism, but part of the museum part of it, talking to the schools where people would know, people that come here, they know that how significant this high school is, and one of the few predominantly Black high schools left in the United States.
Continuous high school. We have other Black high schools, but this has been a continuous, without being made into a middle school or some other entity, and then back to a high school again. So.
Well, the story of IC Norcom is wonderful. There's a Virginia State marker there for IC Norcom right there at the high school. The story is fantastic, but we're looking at a new high school. So it's not really something you want to bring tourists to. And it's also safety for the children. You don't want just anybody coming into that school. But to tell the story of IC Norcom, to include, where he's buried over in the cemetery, in the Calvary complex.
Cemetery, yes.
Yeah, in the complex over there, to include that, and to include the school and where the original school was. Those are great stories to tell, and those stories we would love to continue to tell.
And is there any type of tourism available for children? Say, for instance, I have a youth group, and if I wanted to take them on a tour of the city of Portsmouth where they can see some of the African American history, is there a guided tour that I can get to take these children on?
We have, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Maryville and the Colonials, but Maryville and the Colonials, they have an actor who plays Jeffrey Wilson.
Yes.
They have an actor who plays Billy Flora. They have an actor who plays Lafayette, James Thomas. Yeah, yes. Lafayette, to tell the African American story. And so, that is a great way to do with your children's group, is to bring them together, because they do it on a level that the children can understand versus the higher level for adults. So they're geared towards that. We have a walking tour that's an underground railroad you can do yourself through Old Town. You just take your phone, and all the information you need is right there. And see, eventually I want to build to where we can get people, because as you said, it's a walkable city. So people usually stay in this downtown area. They don't want to get in a car and drive, but there are tours of the Calvary Cemetery complex, which May Breckenridge Haywood does, and she puts all that together. But that all has to be scheduled with her. Those are not offered on a regular basis. But some of the stories that they tell there, and if there was a way that we could recreate those stories and put markers there where people could walk in and see,
that would be amazing.
It would definitely be amazing. But it's not the easiest place to find.
No, it's not.
If you're asking a tourist and you use your GPS to get there, it's still not easy to find. And where to park once you're there.
Exactly.
And so people, they get outside of their comfort zone at some point. So those tours, I think, really need to be guided until we can do some infrastructure improvements around that area to make it more parking accessible, to make it more walker friendly, and to make it just a place that people want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to do something like they did with the Fort Nelson and connecting that with the shipyard tour. I mean, even though they're far apart, but they have sort of a connection. So it's a little break in it, but you jump from the shipyard to the Fort Nelson by the Naval Hospital. So they call that a connection. So
if you pick up the Path to History brochure, there's 79 different spots. I think it was 79 different spots to stop along the way. And it's a walking tour that connects those two parks, the Gosport Park down by the shipyard and the Fort Nelson Park for the Naval Hospital. And it winds its way by the Railroad Museum, the amphitheater. You have signs that talk about the Elizabeth River, the Fresnel Lens. As you're walking the seawall, then you get into Old Town, and it tells the various stories about places in Old Town. And then you actually move on up and make your way over to the Fort Nelson Park. So it's a great little walking tour. It takes about 2 hours to do it, though, if you want to do the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of people into exercising now, so that's
right. But not in this heat.
I think the Colonel might have something, but before we do that, got about 5 minutes before we go off the air with the radio. So I'll say thanks for people on WGPL 1350. Thanks for watching this morning. Appreciate you, and we'll see you next Monday. And if you want to continue, go to Leah Stitt's Facebook page, and you can continue with this conversation.
Or later, you can go to our YouTube page.
Go to our YouTube page and be out there anytime you want to watch. Some good information. You need to know what's going on in your own city.
And especially since many—
the ultimate ambassador for Portsmouth.
And especially since many people have not gone beyond the parameters of their neighborhood in Portsmouth. They may have gone, and they don't know about the Hopless Creeks and the Paradise, and they don't know about these things. So sometimes you have to venture out and see what's going on in your city, and take some of the tours. I've taken my youth group on some of the tours, and the tours are great. And the reenactors, James and I, we encountered them downtown Portsmouth, and we've been trying to get them on the show forever. And so if you have any pull, Keith, we need them on the show, okay?
I will get them on the show.
Yes,
in full character. In full character. So there is a lot to see in Portsmouth, and it's good to pass some positive news about Portsmouth and to get people to feel comfortable. Now, one thing, do you have anyone who ever expressed any concerns about safety when they come into the downtown area?
Yes, in addition to just trying to bring visitors in, I work a lot with convention groups and bringing large groups into the city as well, to the Renaissance Hotel, to the conference center that we have here on the waterfront. And a lot of the meeting planners are concerned because they read about our crime statistics. And so I've gone to the police chief in the past, and they've prepared reports that I can provide to these meeting planners to say, hey, look, where you're meeting and where your group will be is probably one of the safest parts of the city. And so that's really helped. But, that's why we talk to Richmond and Washington, because they don't hear the crime reports here. Exactly. They don't recognize the danger and what, the dangerous, that it could be possibly dangerous. I live downtown. I live in Old Town. I walk everywhere. I walk to work every day. I walk out to restaurants. I hardly ever drive, and I never feel unsafe in this city.
And Keith, share with us, we got some interesting restaurants downtown on High Street that a lot of the citizens in other localities have not experienced. So share with us about some of those great restaurants we have in downtown Portsmouth.
Well, the beer garden is one that brings people from all over the place, and people hear beer garden and they think, oh, it's a beer place. Well, no, it's a wonderful family-owned German restaurant that just happens to have 350 different types of imported beers for people to try. But you go to Washington, D.C., and they've heard of the beer garden. I was in New York and saw someone walking down Fifth Avenue in a beer garden T-shirt. So people understand that is a draw for us. And then we also have two wonderful Thai restaurants on High Street. We have Cafe Europa, which has been here since the 80s.
Forever.
It has been here forever. It is still one of the top 10 restaurants in all of Hampton Roads. Darren's Pub has been here since the 80s. Fred Schoenfeld, the Commodore, people don't think of that as a restaurant, but it is a restaurant. He shows movies, and he's been here since the 80s. So they've invested a lot in this city. And then, of course, you've got the newer restaurants. Well, Roger Brown's has been here, what, 10, 12 years? They've been here longer than that, 20 years probably. Yeah, I think they've been here 20 years. And so it's quite, it's got quite the draw. And then, you also look at the newer places like the Old Town Public House. And then there's two Mexican restaurants, Squads and Cancun Fiesta. High Street Pizza and Poorhouse just opened, and if you haven't tried their pizza, it is phenomenal. It's very different from any other pizza you'll find anywhere. It's Detroit style pizza.
Okay.
And so it's a rectangular pizza that comes in 6 slices, and they put the ingredients are on. Let's see, the ingredients are on top. So the sauce is on the bottom, then the cheese, and then it's delicious.
Okay.
So check them out. But yeah, there's always, and then the vegan restaurant. Dr. Jackie has her vegan cell food restaurant, which is fantastic. I mean, the bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich is out of this world. And it's made with an oyster mushroom that's fried really crispy and given that smoky taste. It's one of the best sandwiches in all of Hampton Roads, as far as I'm concerned. And it's vegan.
And you have the Steel, which is sort of a unique place. The Steel, where sort of like down in the basement.
It's a speakeasy, absolutely, and we're very fortunate to have them. They focus on small plates, shareable plates. So going there is a different dining experience, but I love it. And then District is a fantastic soul food restaurant up on Green Street. And I don't know if you've been there or not.
Every afternoon, every evening, just sometimes.
Yeah, it's delicious up there. So you're really seeing that end of High Street starting to develop now. Pure Coffee House just went in up there. Of course, Gosport has been there for a while. Gosport Tavern has been there for a while. And you've got more and more happening with Bloom co-working space, bringing more people to the area. But these restaurants are going to prosper.
Karen Britt wants to know the name of the pizza place again.
High Street Pizza and Poorhouse, P-O-U-R House.
Okay, Miss Karen, he just gave you the information there.
Yes, awesome.
Keith, I want to go ahead, Colonel. You have.
No, well, I was going to, we talked about, when you talk about tourism and people coming into the city. Has there been a study saying, looking at the availability of hotel rooms, if I want to come in, saying we have a projected need of so we have a shortfall of these many hotel rooms?
I don't know that there's been a formal study. I've never seen one. I would love to see one done, but I do know that, we have a convention center that with a banquet hall that will hold 1,500 people, and the hotel only has 245 sleeping rooms. So there's a real, we have to overflow a lot of groups to other hotels, and usually they're overflowing to Norfolk. And so we're losing that lodging tax. I would love to see another 150 room hotel built within walking distance of the convention center, of the conference center, and let us overflow into those rooms.
And a quality hotel.
Yes, I mean, you can't step down from the Renaissance at a luxury level down to the Econo Lodge. You just can't do it.
Exactly.
So you need something that's going to be a step down from that. And I would love to see, of course, a rooftop restaurant, rooftop bar, something, that would be good, would draw additional people to the area.
Keith,
I think that's going to be one of the things that we could have helped, say, with the casino. When people coming in and out, and they'll be staying, and the bus comes in, and you go gamble, and then you go somewhere else.
Go to Chesapeake.
Yeah.
And what happens is, wherever you stay is where you're going to eat. So
Exactly.
you lose that revenue from the meals tax as well.
Mhm.
So but I think that the casino recognizes that they're going to need to get that hotel built sooner rather than later. So I'm going to be very positive about that and say that, yes, we're going to get that casino open in January, February of 2023. And within 2 years, we'll have that hotel built and ready to go. I'm being optimistic here.
Now, Keith, do you
Keith,
find
I
a lot
wonder-
of people coming over from Norfolk over the ferry to Portsmouth? Is there any way of tracking the movement of the people from Norfolk into the city of Portsmouth?
All we know is how many people ride the ferry. And so you figure they usually report about 300,000 people ride the ferry each year. And so we don't know if they're Norfolk people, Portsmouth people. A lot of people that are staying in hotels over in downtown Norfolk, they want to just get on the ferry. They want to get on the water and see what's over here. So we see a lot of those folks who don't know what's over here. They're just riding the ferry to see. Now, one of the things that we really got to focus on, and I've been harping on since probably February, is you can buy a ticket with a credit card on this side of the water. On that side of the water, it's exact change only.
Oh, wow.
And they don't have a machine over there. And so that's got to change. That I've been on the ferry and heard people get turned away because they didn't have
They
the
don't
right
have exact change.
They
Yeah.
haven't got, and the waterside merchants are not going to give change. So
And
they
change,
got,
and change is hard to come by now because
That's
of the
right.
shortage of coins.
So we need to try to get, HRT to put that machine over there. They say they're going to do it. It was supposed to be in by Memorial Day. Still not in.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even carry cash anymore. They
No.
just,
Exactly.
I'm one of them. I don't carry cash.
Me either.
Keith, I wanted to ask this. I know it's a lot of focus on Old Town, with the history of Old Town going back to the Revolutionary War. And but we have a lot of other historic districts, and they're historic districts for a reason. And maybe they won't be a part of the tours or the tourism part of it, but to mention them in the advertising, wouldn't that be something that would help?
If you go to our website, which I haven't said what our website is, visit portsva.com.
Okay.
Is our website. You will find all of our historic districts listed. I've done a complete inventory of all of our historic monuments around the city. You can go and pull all of those up. There's a link to all of our Virginia historic road markers on that website. So people who are interested in that can certainly find the information. I think it's the first time all of those things have ever been put into one place.
Okay, I just need to do my homework then.
There you check it out. But let's take Port Norfolk, for example. I love Port Norfolk. It's a great little area. And there's a new place over there called Sweet Royale, Hot Dogs and Poetry. And it's right on Broad Street.
Okay.
And it's called Sweet Royale, Hot Dogs and Poetry. And they just opened recently. They have great hot dogs. But in the evenings they do poetry readings, comedy shows, all of that. It's a great place just to go and hang out, and that's the vibe they want. Right now there's no alcohol there, so it's just a matter of everybody just coming together and enjoying the artistic expressions of one another. But you find that important, all little pockets of things that open up. Then you got the Pizza Box over there, which has been there for a while, but Pizza Box is under new ownership. And it's fantastic pizza as well, if you like pizza, and they do deliver. But then the Civic League is very active with different programs that they do over there too. So if they do the Holiday Homes Tour, for example, we get behind that and promote the Holiday Homes Tour. If they've got another event called a Porch Crawl, which we try to do that's a fundraiser for them to raise money for the Civic League. So we get involved with them at the Port Norfolk level. And then if you jump out to Churchland, look what's happening in Churchland right now. There's a big push for craft breweries. Well, now we have 2 out there in Churchland within walking distance of each other. So the Harbor Trails just opened last week, and you got Momac. And the restaurants that are out there, Dragon City Chinese, which is delicious Chinese. And then you've got Rita's Pizza, all right there within walking distance. Bangkok Garden is out there. And of course, Joe Jack's. If you haven't been to Joe Jack's, you got to check out their sandwiches and pastries. We got great coffee. And so, it's a lot of stuff happening out in Churchland as well. So my job is really, how do we link all of these things? So if I can put together something at Hopless Creek and say, okay, when you're done with Hopless Creek, go have a beer at Harbor Trails or MOMAC, or go get something to eat at Bangkok Garden, or something like that, something that's out in Churchland. And try to get people to, because the longer you stay, this is the tourism 101, the longer you stay, the more you spend.
Right.
So if I can get somebody to stay 3 hours, chances are I'm going to get a meal out of them. And that's really what I'm trying to do. Maximize spending opportunities and extend length of stay.
It should be something in all those businesses, keeping them in that area if it's something out there significant to say. But I want to ask you this before I forget this. What's the significance of the mile marker in the Elizabeth River?
Mile marker 0.
Mile
marker 0. You can stop by our welcome center and buy a mile marker 0 t-shirt, as a matter of fact. Mile marker 0 is the beginning of the Atlantic Intracoastal Waterway. So when you hit here, it's shared right between Norfolk and Portsmouth, so we both claim it. It's there's buoy 36 is what it is. So if you're out in a boat, you see buoy 36, that is mile marker 0. And so from mile marker 0, you can travel all the way down to Key West, Florida, on the inside. You don't have to get out in the ocean to do it. I actually several years ago made the trip from Portsmouth to Fort Lauderdale. The Carrie B, the Carrie B that's been running here since the 1950s. Well, back then the Carrie B would run in the wintertime in Fort Lauderdale and in the summertime here. So they would always have to move the boat. So I went with them one time to move the boat down there just to see what the Intracoastal Waterway was like. And when you get to Great Bridge, you have an option. You can either take the historic Dismal Swamp Canal, which, George Washington had hand dug, back in the day for commerce between North Carolina and Virginia, or the larger canal, which is the Atlantic, what did they call it? The Atlantic Intercoastal, I think they call it, canal, the Great Bridge Canal. So you can do either one. And, at some point we did a Dismal Swamp cruise, which took people from here to Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and then we bussed them back. And we could only do it every once in a while, but it was, people wanted to see it. They wanted to get out on the water and see what this was all about. And so those cruises would sell out. We only did them twice a year.
I know, and I know, because I know we tried to get on with my youth group and we could never get on. So are you going to do it again?
I will talk to the Carrie B and see if they'd be willing to do that again.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, the problem is it gets expensive because you have to bus them back. It's too long of a trip to go up and back in one day all the way to Elizabeth City.
Right. Wonderful.
You know what, Keith, you've given a plethora of things to do. And what is a shame that our citizens don't know not even a piece of what you're talking about as far as doing that. If we just, even if we recapture some of the things that the citizens just took a piece of it, and then it would expand, our tax revenues, but it would make it more enjoyable of, where you live.
Absolutely.
Live.
Well, we've got on September 17th an event coming up called Museum Day. And so all of the museums will be participating. So it's going to be the Children's Museum. They do have a $5 admission that day, which is discounted, but all the other museums are free. And so you've got the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center, the Naval Shipyard Museum, the Hill House Museum, and the Portsmouth Colored Community Library Museum, and the Jewish Museum and Cultural Center are all going to be open. A lot of people don't know that we have the Jewish Museum and Cultural Center.
The Jewish Museum is amazing. I've taken my kids there.
Yes, absolutely.
But and for the longest time, I've seen it there, but I had not ventured inside. And so I don't know what event was going on, but we took the kids there to see, and there's a lot of great information in that museum, and it is a wonderful place once you get inside.
Right. I mean, you learn the whole story of how the Jewish community integrated into the Hampton Roads community back in the turn of the century. And they've got a Torah in there from the 1700s that came from Czechoslovakia.
Exactly.
Yeah, you walk in there, it's like stepping back into history.
It is.
And, for those who don't know,
they do so much. They have a summer music series that people don't know about. You go and it's a chamber music series, but they had classical banjo. I mean, when's the last time you heard classical banjo?
Right.
So they're really trying to bring a lot of arts to the area as well. And they do a film festival in the winter. where you can go in and watch Jewish related films, and then they will tell you, they'll have someone introduce them and tell you why we're watching them and what the significance is. So they're doing a lot there at the Jewish Museum and Cultural Center. We just need to get more people to come out and support them.
And what about
I think
McCourt
Chief,
Street?
I'm glad on the show because I think this helps people expand what they envision entertainment is. Some people have a narrow vision of what entertainment is, and you have to look at
the Portsmouth community
spectrum of
Portsmouth Community Concerts just announced their 84th season. They've been bringing music to the city for 84 years. And they used to go to Willett Hall, which we don't have Willett Hall anymore, but now they do them at the new Churchland Theater. And not the amphitheater, the Churchland, where the drama department is, the auditorium.
Right.
And they've got a whole series that runs from September until May of national music coming into Portsmouth that they're bringing in. And it's only, I think, $20 a ticket, and students are free. And so we want to make sure that people are supporting the Portsmouth Community Concerts as well.
And what Leah is saying about taking her youth groups, I hope people watching will do the same with other youth groups, because we always talk about exposing our young people to different things. It's not all about certain things that you might be used to, but you expose them to different things, and you never know what might come out of those kids that are exposed to something different. It might be side of them waiting to get out, and once they're exposed to it, say, okay, that's what I really like, or that's what I'm interested in. And sometimes that hurts us, a lack of exposure to the things outside of the norm, what they see as the norm. So I hope other people with groups, youth groups, or even older youth groups, older youth groups.
Seasoned youth.
Yes.
The book club has been very supportive of the students and the public school system. The book club is a place on High Street. It's a coffee place on High Street. That's also an event center. But they did the high school art exhibition for all the Portsmouth high school students that were juried, and they displayed it there. People came in to see the students' works. And right now you can go in, they're displaying the Portsmouth Public Schools faculty exhibition. So you can see what the teachers have done, and really fantastic work. So much creativity in our city by both the students and the faculty. It's just great to see. And it's great that the book club was willing to step up and say, hey, let's put this on our walls.
Listen, Roberta Carter would like to know where to purchase tickets for the concert series.
For the concert series, portsmouthcommunityconcerts.org. You can purchase them online, and that will give you also the full lineup for the season. I have them on my website, but it's going to be a little easier to find it on board because it's in a calendar on my website. So it'll be a little easier to get all the information in one place at portsmouthcommunityconcerts.org.
Keith, as a result of going to the farmers market on Saturdays, I didn't realize that the church on Court Street, I don't know if it's Presbyterian or Methodist church, they have courtside concerts.
That is the First Presbyterian Church. They do Wednesday concerts in the summertime. Let's see, I think, I don't have the calendar in front of me, but I think they've got one coming up this Wednesday. And yeah, they just put them in the courtyard, and they're celebrating their 200th year as a congregation this year. And Monumental Methodist over on Dinwiddie Street is celebrating 250 years this year. So both of those, and they bring so much to the community. Monumental Methodist does noonday concerts. No, I'm sorry, that's St. John's that does the noonday concerts. Monumental Methodist does their own programs and concert programs. But then at Christmas time, they have the Coleman Collection's nativity scene there. So if you like the Winter Wonderland, or remember the Coleman Collection from the Coleman Nursery, it's a wonderful stopover to see the nativity scene at Christmas time.
You said that's at Monumental?
That's at Monumental,
And then that little florist shop there on, I'm trying to remember the name of, they usually doing the Christmas, when they get ready for the walk around Old Town, there's a little florist shop. I'm trying to remember exactly where it is. And they have you can go in, you can get food, you can sit outside.
florist shop. I'm trying to think of what that would be. I
Trying
don't.
to think of, well, it'll come to me and I'll
Okay.
mention it in a few, but yeah, nice little place though, where you can get food and get prepared. You can get all your Christmas decorations and what have you. So
Yeah,
Let
the
me
Old
show
Town
you.
Holiday Music Festival is our signature holiday event. And I'd love to see that grow and bring more of the, we used to, well, hopefully this year the kids will be able to return. You always had the school groups who were performing on one stage, but because
Right.
of the pandemic, they haven't been able to perform the last couple of years.
mhm.
But that, that you bring them in, and then you've got, a brass quintet over here at this little shop, and you've got a string quartet over at this other shop, all playing Christmas music.
Mm. James
Let
is
me
showing
show
us
you.
Portsmouth
I think
community.
Well,
all
and you,
season, all citizens get this, and I think it's put out by the Tourism, Museums, and Parks and Recreation. And if you get these, don't throw them away thinking it's junk mail. It has all the times and all the activities that are going on. I think it's put out every 3 months or so.
yeah,
But
quarterly. It's quarterly
good
guide.
people that might
So-
not know.
So if you
what's-
don't get it in the mail, where can you pick one up?
You can pick one up at the Portsmouth Welcome Center, which is at 206 High Street, right across the street from the Children's Museum. And I think you can get them at the Churchland Library, probably the Craddock Library. So you can just get, they're all free.
Okay, wonderful.
Hmm.
We really have to promote some positive things in Portsmouth, because for so long we've been having to discuss so many negative things that is good finally to be able to talk about some great things that are taking place in the city and that the citizens need to take a part in.
Be a part of. Exactly. We get people coming from Virginia Beach to our museums, but it's a hard time getting people from Portsmouth to come to our museums.
Exactly. Now,
Mhm.
do the citizens of Portsmouth, do they get any kind of discount at the museum or?
Well, okay, it just not on a regular basis, because the museum is $3 to get into the art gallery.
Okay,
So,
okay.
there's not much of room for the discount there. The Naval
Mhm.
Shipyard Museum is free.
Mhm.
The Lightship Museum will be reopening very soon, and so that's going to be free. So, there's not a big opportunity for that. But so during the Winter Wonderland, just as an example, there's when what happens is over the Christmas holidays.
Mhm.
There is a day dedicated to Portsmouth residents. Portsmouth residents get in for free
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
see the exhibit. And it's just, anybody can come, but if you have an ID that says you live in Portsmouth with a Portsmouth address on it, you can get in for free to see it.
Hmm.
And Keith, what about the art shows that I think they haven't had them for a few years? Maybe they had it last year. That line High Street down near the in the
August 20,
downtown section.
August 27th and 28th is the Seawall Art Show. They
Mhm.
have between 65 and 70 exhibitors that will be there, and it will be there both days from 10 to 5. It's back this year. It's their 50th anniversary
Mm.
producing the Seawall Art Show. One of my favorite events of the year. I always have to buy something at the Seawall Art Show.
There's some talent out there. That's one of the big events, and it's just a matter of people knowing. My whole thing is people here knowing, because when you go down to farmers market, you see more people from, like you just mentioned, other cities that know more about
That's
Exactly.
right.
some of the things going on in Portsmouth, and we can get away. And like we always say, we have to address whatever else is going on in the city of Portsmouth, but we
Mhm.
also have to make sure we let people know all the wonderful things that's going on in Portsmouth and all the wonderful things you can do in the city of Portsmouth.
Exactly. And one of the things too I want to say about the Seawall Art Show, that is a volunteer group. That is not a city event. That is a volunteer local community group that puts that together. And we're seeing more and more of that, of these local community groups that are trying to do good things for our city. There's another application out right now I just saw come across for a Miracle on High Street Christmas parade that a private group wants to produce.
Wonderful.
So we would love to see that during the Christmas holiday.
Yes, yes.
So it's possible for some of those historic communities that I mentioned to do some things like that in their own communities. Some of them already do that, but
Craddock is up and
Craddock.
coming. Let me tell you, Craddock is really on the move. Their civic league is organized, and they are putting together all kinds of events. Craddock Days, and that their Memorial
The 4th of July celebration.
4th of July
was
celebration.
wonderful. It was
Yeah,
wonderful.
it's one of the that parade is 100 and some years old. that they
Mhm.
do. They've been doing that for over 100 years.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, we got to love Craddock for really the organization. Gracie Parr is the president of their Civic League. He does
Yes,
a
yes.
fantastic job.
Yes, we've had Bracy on, and we attended the 4th of July celebration there, and it was really a great celebration.
A great family event.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I think if more communities did that, it would take people beyond downtown. Of course, downtown is important, but it's also important to take people beyond downtown, taking across the bridge. But
Mhm.
sure, there are other great places or historic places within the city of Portsmouth that needs some focus and some attention. So
Absolutely. But
So
they're
Marvin,
coming. We'll get there.
Marvin Childs out of Atlanta wants to know, where is the farmers market? Marvin is between Court Street and it's on High Street, Court Street, heading towards Washington
Dinwiddie.
Street,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so and it's on both sides of the street, Marvin Childs, and it's also on Court Street itself. So come on from Atlanta and visit us, Marvin, and come home and see what good things are happening in the city of Portsmouth.
In the hours?
And
pretty
what
much year round.
year round? Oh, the hours are from 10 to 2. Am I correct, Keith? For the farmers
Not
market?
this time of year is 9 to 1.
9 to 1, and it's year round. And
They'll stop. They'll take a break let's see, I think December or whatever that third Saturday is in December. They take a break, and I don't think they come back until March.
Okay, and also we talked about the time, we talked about the location. I had another thought and it just left me, but it'll come back. So I have that privilege.
Have that
So
seasoned citizen privilege.
yes. So, but yeah, Keith, this has been really wonderful. Marvin is in town now, so Marvin, make sure you make it to the farmers market on Saturday. We'll be glad to see you there.
It's supposed to be a beautiful weekend. The temperature's supposed to drop, highs just in the 80s. So it'll be a great time to be outside and explore Portsmouth this weekend.
Great. And I guess I'm really going to have to make some time to take the kids out to Hopless Creek and a few other places. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, there's a new exhibit at Paradise Creek that I haven't seen yet, so I'm not comfortable talking about, but I'm going to go out there this weekend and check it out. It's up on the mound. There was something called Tree Hinge. I'm not sure what that is. And then they were doing something else up there. So I want to go see what that's about. So something new at Paradise Creek, and I can't talk about it because I haven't seen it.
Well, you're going to have to come back and tell us about it once you go to see it, okay?
Hey, Keith, as far as Hopless Creek, is that something where you can go anytime, or do you need a guide? It's quite a bit of wildlife out there.
Quite a bit of wildlife, but the beauty of Hopless Creek is you can actually go out there and rent a kayak. They rent by the hour, and you can they have these beautiful kayak launches. Everybody thinks, well, I'm not very good at this. They put the kayak in a plastic launch, and you get down so you're not touching the water at all. And then you use the oars to pull yourself forward and into the water. So you can get in and out without ever getting wet. But don't count on it. You might get a little wet, but that's the principle behind it. You can get in and out.
Well, it's
paddle the creek or paddle out to the James. If you're really experienced, you can paddle out to the James, but they don't encourage that because of the ships and everything.
Exactly.
But the paddling the creek is just smooth water. And they also do guided paddles. They do once a month. They'll do a sunset guided paddle tour, and a sunset moonlight on the full moon.
Oh, wow.
You go out and paddle during the full moon because the wildlife's going to be different on a full moon.
Yeah.
And they have guides that take you out.
But Keith, when I used to walk along the waterfront on the boardwalk, dolphins. I was amazed to see dolphins up this close in the channel.
They don't usually come up here, but you do see them occasionally in as you walk on the seawall. One year we had a manatee that came up from Florida.
Wow.
I've seen now. I want to say about Hopless Creek, if you are skittish about things that crawl,
don't go.
Leave alone. Don't go, because they're out there. But they're too. But if you some people have a problem with them.
Well, and the thing about it is, go in the winter. They hibernate. They're not out in the winter.
Not the
winter months. Wrap up and go take a walk around the lake. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, if you're gonna do that, especially if you by yourself, the winter is about the best time.
Yes, yes. I like to take that moonlight paddle boat.
Paddle. Yeah.
Yes, yes, that should be nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
we've had a couple of what do you call social media influencers, people who have a large following. They come to
Mhm.
Portsmouth and write about us, and that's been it's been nice. One of them did the sunset paddle
Okay.
Mm.
out there and wrote all about it, put it on video, just beautiful
Uh-huh.
video work.
Well, I just have to read about that. I don't think I'm going out there in the moonlight, not in the wilderness. That's just me. But I'm not discouraging
James,
anybody.
James, a little adventure in your life, man. A little adventure in your life, okay?
We don't want him ended up in the ocean somewhere.
Oh, no, no, we don't want that. Yeah, so
But well, we're winding down now. But Keith, we really appreciate you coming on and sharing this information with us. A wealth of information that a lot of it we knew about, and some things we didn't know about. So thanks for enlightening us and our audience. And like I said, this will be out there, and hopefully people will watch it and spread the word, especially to their neighbors here in the city of Portsmouth. Make sure you know what your city has to offer.
Has to offer.
So when you're out of town or when you're across town or in another city, that you can talk about these things, and it's doesn't have to be all about politics.
Well, you know, and I would like to encourage any of the local audience that's here, if you have something going on, let us know. We keep an extensive calendar on our Facebook page. So, you know, we want a visitor who comes in to know who's playing guitar in what restaurant, you know, or what's going on. If it's something that would conceivably draw a visitor, we want to know about it. And so we scavenge the internet all the time looking for people who are having different events. And I've learned about, you know, poetry events I knew nothing about going on here. So in places I really didn't know. So, you know, we try to put all of that on our calendar. So visit our Facebook page for the extensive calendar, and then visit our website for all the information about Portsmouth.
okay,
It's
now
all
your Facebook page is
Visit Ports VA or Visit Portsmouth. And then our
your
website
is
visitportsva.com.
okay. And if they want to pick up literature in reference to tourism, they come to which address again?
206 High Street is our welcome center, is our visitor information center. There's a lot of different, you can buy t-shirts for Portsmouth and hats and all kinds of things in there, all about Portsmouth. We even have our own line of peanuts called History Nuts.
Okay, okay.
And you can find, we have Jeffrey Wilson nuts is in there, and all
Oh.
kinds of nuts in there. We have Icy Norcom coffee. I mean, Craddock coffee, Truxton coffee. And
coffee.
getting ready to do something just for Norcom.
Yes, you must do something for Norcom, because you know we're getting ready to celebrate our 110th year next year. So we need some great things to be shown in the city of Portsmouth about all of the great things that's taken place at Norcom High School and those who attended Norcom High School. So that would be.
It might be fun to put together a tour, an Icy Norcom tour that people can take just on their own.
110th year, Keith, I'll be talking to you because I'm the president of the Alumni Association, and I've been trying to plan events for that year. So I will be talking to you. That would be amazing. That would be wonderful.
That's something the AD would like to do too, as well.
Yeah, Les Young. He's on listening now. So I'll get with Les and with the school and with Keith, and we'll see what we can pull together.
We'll do it, and we'll put it up on our tours with all our other tours, so anybody can just download it to their phone and go. It's all mobile friendly, ready to go.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
And the last thing, and Colonel, you might know this. I know with this being a big military town, and we get a lot of military from out of town coming in, a lot of them stationed here and bring their families. So I know the word goes out to the bases and everything to let them know what's going on in Portsmouth, that they have the opportunity to visit here. Is something like that? Is it shout out to the surrounding bases, or, you know, to know when they come into the area that Portsmouth is also a destination?
We make sure that NWR, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation, they have information about Portsmouth, all of our museums. Lynette James, who is our museum outreach person, she makes sure that she goes and has those brochures at all the NWR It's hard for us to get on base, so we have to we have to depend on either others to take them, or they have to do something off base for us to be able to do that.
Mhm.
And Colonel, that's something that's important to people coming into a town. Wouldn't you say that,
Yes.
especially if they come in with their families and, looking for something to do to sort of relax from the military life a little bit and just let the hair down. And Portsmouth is a place that they shouldn't miss out on. It's not all about the beach.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what, and you're so correct, because one, as a military member, you always want to get away from, I guess, the job itself. And so all the things that we talked about is things to do. But the other, I think, more important piece is as we take our kids to all the like children's museum or to a restaurant or to other events, it's an education because of the exposure, and that's by itself is something that we need to plan as parents, saying, on this weekend or this week, we're going to do such and such. And you could take that book that you just had and you could plan out, say, for the summer, rather than the kids staying there in front of the machine all day and exercising the thumbs, where you can expose them. And so that is something to put in your planning planner. So yeah.
Absolutely. We have, if you go to our website, there's a whole section called Plan Your Visit. And there's all the different businesses are listed. We have some curated itineraries with videos showing you what you might expect. And so, just how to structure your day, or how to structure 48 hours in Portsmouth. That's on our website for people to learn and try and use to plan their visit to our city.
And some locals can use it as well to plan to see some of the things that they've been missing out on the city of Portsmouth. So
absolutely, it's there for everybody.
It's good. That's great. That's great.
Okay, well, thanks again, Keith. I appreciate it, and we'll let you have the last word. You have just a brief promotion of what you do. I mean, not what you do, of the museums and the tourism. Last minute promotion for people that are watching that might want that find themselves here one day.
Well, these are the museums and all of the things we've talked about today. They're real assets for our city. They're here for our citizens, but they're also here for our visitors. And I'd love to see our citizens take advantage of what our city has to offer in terms of these museums that are here, in terms of the outdoor recreation, in terms of the beautiful waterfront that we have. Just come out and take advantage of it. It's right here. It's here for you. It's here for you to enjoy, and it's here for you to bring others. And so spend your money in Portsmouth. That's what we want you to do. Spend your money here, help our economy.
Yeah. Every once in a while, let your hair down, even if you don't have any. But, Portsmouth Coffee Talk is here for our voice,
our community,
and our future.
And thank you so much.
Thank you so very much for coming on.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Keith. Well, you've really done a great job of providing information about some great things that are going on in the city of Portsmouth, and we appreciate it so much. And responses, they've been great on Facebook, and so prayerfully more people will venture out and get out and see what's happening in Portsmouth. Get out of those neighborhoods and find out what else is taking place.
Yes.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. And anytime you want to pass something to us, for us to share with our audience, please do so.
I will do it. Let's get this Norcom visit planned.
Yes, and I will be visiting you so we can get that in place, okay?
I will love it. It'll be great.
Okay,
thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Keith.
Bye,
Thanks,
Keith. Everybody.
Take care. All right, people.